Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to be testing out the new Sjogren Intertial shotgun for the Assault class in Battlefield 1. This is one of the new DLC weapons from They Shall Not Pass. Currently I'm using it in Battlefield 1 CTE. This is my 5th of the new DLC primary weapon reviews, and if you want to check out my other weapon reviews, I'll link them in the video description in case you're curious about what the DLC offers in terms of firepower. Now when it comes to reviewing shotguns, there's a few more things to take into account other than the rate of fire and reload speed. Pellet count is one of the bigger defining factors of a shotgun. The amount of pellets that the shotgun actually shoots out at once indicates how much damage you're going to be doing. Also, some of the shotguns have slightly different damage outputs per pellet, and so that's a big factor. Determining how much damage you can do per shot is going to tell you how easy it is to be able to get a one-shot kill with that shotgun. Currently, the Model 10A Hunter is a shotgun with the most damage potential per shot because it shoots 20 pellets per shot, and each of those do 8.4 damage apiece. Now, the Sjogren Inertial only shoots 13 pellets per shot, but it does have some upsides to it. The good thing about the 13 pellets per shot is that it can do just enough damage to one-shot kill. You can miss one of those pellets if your aim isn't perfect, or if one of those pellets hits an extremity like forearms or legs and you do a little bit less damage. That will still get you a one-shot kill, but for the most part you really have to be aiming center mass and get a perfectly aimed shot in order to get that one-shot kill. Now you might be thinking, well, why would I want to use a shotgun that requires such precision when I can just pick something a little bit easier to use like the Model 10A, which will give me a lot of leeway with the damage. I can miss a few more pellets. I don't necessarily have to be aiming perfectly, and I have a higher chance of getting that one-shot kill. Well, if your aim is good enough, this is where the Sjogren Inertial really comes into play. It is the fastest firing shotgun in the game that allows you to get a one-shot kill. So if you've got great aim and you want to do as much damage as fast as possible in close quarters, this is on paper the most ideal shotgun to use. And personally, I think this is a pretty fair trade-off. It's not easy to aim perfectly at fast-moving targets in close quarters. If you are incredibly good at first-person shooters and you want to try your skill at that higher level of gameplay, then this could definitely be a fun shotgun to test out, but it could also be a frustrating shotgun if you're not quite there with your accuracy yet. Missing by just a little bit is going to void you that one-shot kill, and then you're in a bit of a pickle. If you're going up against an Automatico or anything else, you got to get that next shot off. On the bright side, it has a 163 round per minute rate of fire, which is the second fastest in the game for any of the shotguns. So if you do miss your first shot and your enemy stutters for just a second or a millisecond, or say you take a shot at them and they're turned around, you can probably get a second shot off to try and remedy your first mistake. Then again, your intention should not be a two-shot kill takedown with this shotgun. If that's what you're going for, or you're anticipating needing multiple shots to take down your opponent, you may as well go with the 12 gauge automatic shotgun because that has a much faster rate of fire and it can down people in 2 shots. Otherwise, the benefit of this one is really trying to get that one-shot takedown, and if you can't quite squeeze that out, then the 2-shot will suffice. Obviously, you can use more than that if you need to, but it's only got a 5-round magazine, so you really don't want to be spending any more ammo than that unless you have to. The benefits of the shotguns really come into play at close quarters. With having a 5-round magazine, you can potentially kill 5 people if your aim is good enough, and you can do it very quickly. Now, as far as I know, the Sjogren Inertial Factory is the only variant of this weapon, so if you're looking for a Hunter variant or a extended variant or backboard variant, I don't think we're going to be getting that. I think factory is really your only option here. So you don't really have to weigh pros and cons between the different types of shotguns available, at least in this class. Now, obviously, to get the most use out of a shotgun, regardless of which shotgun it is, you're going to want to pick a map that's mostly focused on close quarter combat, or at least a map where you can close the distance. As you can see right there, I was able to actually get quite a few kills in CQB combat. The further the range, the less effective this weapon becomes and the less point of picking it. So shotguns are very much game mode specific and map specific. If you know you're going to be in a big open desert map, shotgun might not be the best thing, although sometimes I will switch to it if my teammates have, say, closed the distance on a point and I'm spawning on a squad that's going to be right in the thick of combat. Then it might make sense to pick a shotgun on a map that's even bigger and wide open. Playing on the new Fort de Vaux map is definitely a good place to try out shotguns, although it can be tricky as some of the corridors can become choke points, and when people have kind of got you quarantined off at a further range, then the shotguns aren't going to be as useful. Also, I've noticed the hipfire spread indicator is considerably bigger than the actual spread is, especially in close quarters. So I find that this hipfire indicator really doesn't help me aim the shotgun, and I think it would be kind of nice if DICE just let us design our own spread reticles for shotguns, as that would allow me at least to design one that I think is going to allow me to shoot more accurately, because accuracy is such an important part of this shotgun specifically. Having a giant targeting reticle on the screen like that doesn't help out very much. Now, admittedly, my favorite shotgun in the game, and probably no surprise to many people out there, is the Model 10A Hunter, just because it has the maximum damage per shot and decent range for a one-shot kill potential. My second favorite beyond that is probably the M97 trench gun sweeper variant, as it allows me to shoot a bit faster than the Model 10A Hunter and still has a very powerful one-shot kill potential. That being said, the Sjogren Intertial is something that I could see myself practicing with and trying out a bit more. The problem, of course, I have is that one of the most satisfying ways to play the shotgun is just to get one shot per enemy and take them down. And with the Sjogren Intertial, I found myself often using two shots simply because my initial shot wasn't lined up as perfectly as it could have been. And I know a lot of my initial shots with this weapons would have been one-shot kills with other shotguns where it wasn't with this one. And so using something like the Model 10A Hunter gives me a little bit more kill ability based on my own personal accuracy, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to practice with this and try and up my accuracy and make it even better and even more reliable. So that's basically a question you should all be asking yourselves then, is how good of a player am I? Is my accuracy amazing? Do I have great twitch reflex skills, especially in close quarter combat? If so, then you may want to try out the Sjogren Intertial. You might like it a lot. If not, if you rely a little bit more on shotguns that can really dish out a huge amount of damage per shot, then you might be looking for something more like the Model 10A or the M97 Sweeper. And even here, using the shotgun in Amiens requires a bit of strategic positioning, because there's a lot of alleyways and corridors where the ranges become extreme. So you really have to be smart as a shotgun user. It's not an easy weapon to use if you aren't good about tactically positioning yourself. And taking the new weapons into the old school maps, now that CTE has brought in some of the traditional maps into CTE rotation, we can test out the shotguns in maps that are tried and true, and we know just how good shotguns are for what situations. Also, something that's interesting is that they're allowing you to bring the new assault tank in from the They Shall Not Pass DLC to the other vanilla maps, which is something that was never done in previous Battlefield DLCs. Basically, new vehicles that came out would only be relegated to the new DLC or DLCs beyond that point. So you can never really go backwards with vehicles and add them in to the vanilla maps, but it seems like that is an option with Battlefield 1, and that's kind of exciting because not only does the DLC allow you to now bring weapons back over, giving you an advantage if you have the DLC over other people with just vanilla game, but you can also bring your vehicles back over, so people who don't have the DLC won't have access to the new assault tank in the vanilla map. So that's just an extra little thing to think about. Also, I saw some rumors circulating around that March 14th was going to be the official release date for this new DLC. I'm actually surprised that DICE hasn't given us an official release date yet, but I think that came up on like a website, or somebody found it in like a different language for like an online retailer. So I think it's pretty credible and pretty likely that we will be getting this new DLC on the 14th. Anyway, I'm excited to get the new content and get these guns over into the standard game and not just the CTE version. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you some ideas about whether or not you want to try out this shotgun. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.